sports fans. This is Daily Globe Sports Talk, the show where we at the Daily Globe Sports Department get together and talk about sports, local and national, and in between. With me is sports columnist Les Knutson, sports reporter Caleb Nelson. And let's get right down to business here. Our first topic tonight is the high school mercy rule. Good or bad or indifferent? And this is a favorite topic of yours, Les. Why don't you start with us?
Well, yeah, I think the mercy rule is just ridiculous. All I feel it does is penalize your subs. You get 35 points ahead and the clock runs continuously, so the subs are in the game and then the clock runs and they don't get all their time that they should get. I felt rather than penalizing the subs and having this ridiculous 35 point rule, maybe it should be mandatory that when you get so far ahead, no starters can be in the game. You know, all your starters have to be out. You have to have your subs in. To me, that would make much more sense than having a 35-point mercy rule and running the clock. I think I'd rather get beat 90-21 and have everybody get a fair chance to play than to keep that clock running and penalize the subs. So I think it's a real bad rule.
So what you're in favor of is getting more subs into the game. It's more important than ending the game quicker when it's out of hand.
Exactly, yeah. There's a lot of games that are real close games, and sometimes not everybody gets in. When you get a chance for the subs to get in the game, and then for that clock to run faster and penalize those kids, I think is totally wrong.
Why do they go to the mercy rule?
Oh, they don't want the score to be run up so big. That happens. In football, I think maybe it's a little bit of a safety issue, but I think it's the same thing there. You could certainly enforce that no starters can be in the game once you get so far ahead. I would much rather see that than that clock run like that.
But parents don't want to see games get out of hand. They want them to end. Is that what's happening?
I don't know. I think the parents of those subs would like to see the subs get a chance to play, so.
Yeah. Good point. What do you think, Caleb?
I can see both sides of it. I feel sometimes, when I watch blowouts, it's kind of like, you feel bad for the team that's getting beat 90-20 or, whatever it is. And that, you can see that side of it, but I can also see a program building side of it where you do want your subs to get valuable playing time. And that's great experience to play against, number ones from another school, and so, I don't know, I can see both sides of it. But
I feel for the subs. I think I know what Les is talking about. I mean, they're into the practices every day. They put in just as much time and effort as the starters do, and they get very little attention when they get a chance to get into the game. It's good to see them in the game.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a lot to think about there.
Yeah.
Let's go on to our next topic. What's new around your sports beat? What are you covering? Let me get this up here so everybody can see it. What's going on with you and what you're covering? Anything interesting happening around your sports beats?
I had a really fun wrestling duel, I thought, the other night. Covered Worthington hosted St. James area. It was tied at 13 at one point, and then Worthington finishes it off 5 out of 6 matches to win. And it's just neat to see them, come from down actually by 6 to winning by a fairly good margin. A lot of good wrestling right now in the area. Ben Goodwin out at Minnesota West is number 1 at 174 pounds, I believe.
In the nation.
In the nation, yep. In NJCAA, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, can't get any better than that.
Can't get any better than that. So a lot of good wrestling right now in the area.
And if you go back in time, Worthington used to host a national junior college wrestling meet every year. That was a real big thing. People came from all over for that. And then in high school wrestling, back in the 1980s, Worthington and Adrian were just absolute powers, and they used to fill the place for that dual wrestling meet every year.
And that's next week, actually.
And they are wrestling again.
Next week here in Worthington.
Adrian's got another really good team, and
Yep.
Worthington's coming up. Worthington went in, had a few years there where it was really struggling in wrestling, but it's coming back.
Yeah.
Mark Prunty's been doing a really good job.
Maybe we can pack that place for the wrestling match. And what night is that?
Thursday night, 6 o'clock,
16th?
B Squad. Yep, B Squad, 6 o'clock, and Adrian's ranked 4th in their class, and Worthington, you know, they're just as strong, and they're having a really good season, so it should be a good duel.
Well, that'd be good.
Yeah. Well, I want to put a plug in for the Lady Jays women's basketball team. I watched them last night. They're 11-3, and boy, they're scoring a lot of points. You almost get the feeling that they can score 100 points every time they go out there. They run up and down the floor quickly. It's a lot of fun. Last night they were basically playing a half-court game and setting things up, and they still scored 98 points. So they're a lot of fun to watch, and I think you fans should go out there and see them when you get a chance.
Well, I'll get a chance to cover them Saturday, I guess, and I got a chance to cover a hockey game the other night, and that was kind of fun. It wasn't as cold in there as I thought it was going to be, and Worthington skated well, just about beat Marshall, a 4-3 game. And then there's one other comment on what went on. I ended up being correct in that holiday basketball tournament. I said that the team that won 2 games would win that tournament, and that's exactly what happened. It was a great tournament. Perham and Mankato West both fielded excellent ball teams and got really sound tradition there. So that's just a really good tournament, and we look forward to that a year from now again.
Right, that was a very good prediction, Les, and it came true.
Why?
Some of your predictions this year did not always come true, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Our next topic is NFL head coaches. The Vikings are looking for a head coach this year, so are a few other teams. What should the Vikings do? I hear Bud Grant is still available.
Yeah, but maybe Bud will come back. He did one other time, but maybe Bud, Grant, and Sid Hartman could kind of co-coach that operation. I don't know what the Vikings will do. I thought maybe they should have hung on to Frazier. I think, I don't know who the defensive coordinator is, but to me the defense has been the problem. Not only this year, but years past. I go way back to, the great team they had scored all the points in '98. People say Gary Anderson lost the game. They're ahead 27-20 when Gary Anderson misses the field goal. It's a Viking defense that then wilted and let the Falcons come down and score and tie the game and eventually win. So I think the late game defense of the Vikings has been a perennial problem.
Another team looking for a head coach is the Detroit Lions, and I hear some rumors that one of our area high school coaches might have the inside track on that. Les, you actually wrote a story, I understand, that we're holding in case...
Just in case.
Just in case Tom Schuler,
Hot off the press.
Jackson County Central head coach, gets the call. We're ready to run that story if we hear that Tom was offered the job. In fact, I think part of the story, you want to read that?
Yeah, this just in the other day, just across my desk, just in case we need it. After a brief week-long search, officials of the Detroit Lions have selected Tom Schuler, a native of Tatanka, Iowa, and the highly successful football coach at Jackson County Central in southern Minnesota, to become their new head coach. So, nice story here. We'll keep it right here, and if we need it, we'll have it ready. Great coach over there, and plans to possibly move some players around to maybe bolster their backfield a little bit and use some of that strong Husky deception, and turn it into a product at the Lions, and we'll see how that goes if indeed it happens. So.
Tom has some interesting ideas on how to run an offense in high school, and it would be interesting to see if that can transfer over to the NFL.
Yeah, Tom would do a good job. He might go to the Detroit Tigers though, because he's a big Tigers fan too, baseball wise. But I think he's more of a baseball player and a football coach. So I see him coaching the Lions and cheering for the Tigers if he does move to Detroit. But
flame-throwing left-handed relief pitcher for the Jackson Bulls.
Yeah, he was.
Pretty well known over there.
Yeah, it is they.
Yeah.
It is kind of hard to believe that there are actually Detroit Lions fans out there in this area. But Tom is one of them, and I kind of follow the Lions a little bit, and I wouldn't mind Ken Whisenhunt getting the job. That is, if Tom gets it and turns it down, I'd be happy to go to Whisenhunt as the number 2 choice.
And you're kind of interested in helping out with the draft.
I would like to help out with the draft that's coming up. Yes, I think I would do a better job than some of these general managers have done in recent years. But
so you want to get the players, and then let Tom coach them.
I'll get the players, and Tom can coach them.
Okay.
I think
That sounds like a good plan for the Lions. It may be a good plan for the Vikings if it backfires.
Yeah.
Okay, one last topic, and we want to bring in two of our fellow Daily Globe employees on this one, Managing Editor Ryan McGahey and Community Content Coordinator Aaron Hagan, because we're going to talk about the final Daily Globe Pick'em football results, where we each week picked all the football games, starting with the high school games all the way to college and pros. And the tournament is over, and let's see now, who won? Who got first place in this Pick'em?
I came in fourth, a distant fourth. It was a three-person race between Ryan, Aaron, and Doug. And I came back down the last week, and you won it, Doug.
Well, that's great. I'm very humble, of course, from winning this. It was my first year back here in Worthington, and first year taking part in this pool. I was 7 years wandering in the wilderness in Mankato, Minnesota, before coming back to God's country in Worthington, and they let me, be a part of this pool, this Pick'em contest, and I was fortunate enough to win.
I showed up just after. I mean, I showed up on the scene like right after it started, so
So you weren't
I
here.
kind of got left in the middle of all this picking at each other, I guess.
I also think it's interesting that you mentioned the humility that you have with this, and of course you put this on the agenda to talk about it.
Absolutely.
So
It's
there.
very humble.
Also,
experience.
Doug
Maybe a few
chose
text
the
messages
games.
too, that we're saying.
Doug chose the games that were to be picked, so he might have had just a little bit of an inside edge on.
You know, I always thought that I should have done that too when I was a sports editor. I should have only picked the games that I knew about, so I would guarantee to win. But unlike some, I was always willing to let somebody else have the glory and not save it for the sports editor. But congratulations, Doug.
Thank you.
I finished a solid third. Tried that Hail Mary pass at the last week, tried to get some different picks, and unfortunately, like most Hail Marys, I was unsuccessful. But it was always fun to do that, and I know a lot of readers will make comments about the games that we picked and the teams that we did, or a lot of times did not pick. So it's always fun and enjoyable. And
I should note that I got a couple letters to the editor, and at the bottom it would say something to the effect of, "P.S. I see you're leading the football picks. Good luck. And keep it going." And of course I did lead up until, I want to say, the second to last week, or did I even have the edge of the last week going? And I can't remember, but anyway, with the Detroit analogy, I had Jose Valverde as my closer, and he messed up at the last week or
He
two.
gave up the home run at the end.
Yeah, so you got me on that, Doug. But it was fun, and look forward to it again next year. And I do think people get a kick out of it.
Yeah, they say the cream always does rise to the top at the end, and I don't know if that was true in this case, but we all know what happened. And my last
Sour
question
cream,
is,
maybe.
yeah, my last question before we close this segment is, what do I get for winning?
congratulations. That's
No
Recognition.
trophy? No trophy?
Your name in the paper.
right.
Yeah.
Right, recognition. That's about it. And in years down the road, you will probably be mentioned in the Blast from the Past by Les. That in itself is better than any trophy.
I think Les wrote a 1,000-word column one year about
He keeps track.
everyone
Yeah.
picked.
I have one
how many
or
times
twice.
people like the
Yeah.
Vikings and.
The perennial winner, though, was my son Lucas Knudsen, won
Yeah.
many a time, and Lucas is over to Glenville, Minnesota now, about 2 hours east of here, so no longer working with us and no longer in the picks. But I did try to get his help once in a while, but that didn't seem to work this time either.
Something tells me by the end of the decade, Logan Knudsen will be a contender
Yes.
for the Pick'em
Yes,
Championship.
I feel like it'll pass the torch.
Yeah, we'll see.
We've got a joke in the sports department that if you do something right, you get a Smartie, and if you do something wrong, you get a dum-dum. So we'll have to give you a Smartie or something.
Thank you. I like Smarties. Okay. Well, anyway, that's about all the time we have. So thanks, everyone, for joining, and we'll see you next time.